How are we all doing, guys, in the middle of this heat wave? Oh, it is beautiful out there at the moment, but it wears on you. I've been doing a bit of walking, getting around in the sun, having my dinner outside and that kind of thing, and it's starting to like sap my energy, but I love it. I just love being in the sun. Obviously, vitamin D is real. It gets into your body, you feel better. What's that thing where people need a sad light because it's too dark outside in the winter and they don't feel good mentally because of that? I feel that's so true. When it's summertime, I'm so happy all the time. In a way better mood. It's been an exciting week, guys. It's been an exciting week. Yesterday was Eid, so Eid's always good, celebrated it with my family, had a bit of food, but I booked out the days so I wasn't doing comedy. However, I got offered a gig by Daniel Innes, and I like Daniel. We're friends, so I thought, you know what? You've offered me a gig. It could be Eid that day. When I accepted the gig, I didn't know for sure. I thought, you know what? I'll accept it, and if I've got to figure it out, I'll figure it out on the day. And it came to the week, and it was Eid on the same day, so I had to figure it out. So I was going with Phil Milton. So I met him near my mum's house, got some food from my mum, said, here you go, mate, have a bit of this. So I passed that on to him, and then we went and did Dan's gig. But yeah, Eid, fantastic. The gig itself was, do you know what, really, really good. I couldn't even begin to explain what an over level of performance from the audience it was. So when the audience is good, they'll really carry everything that you do, and that's exactly what they were doing yesterday on Eid, Wednesday night in Hillsborough. I think it's Hillsborough Social Club is the name of the venue. Johnny Brook was opening. I have a gig with Johnny for a couple of months now. I think it might have been back in January last time I gigged with him. I was hosting that night, and I can't remember where he was on the lineup, but yeah, so he opened and it went really well, and I'm thinking Johnny's done really good there. And then Phil Milton went on in the middle and did really well, and I thought Phil's done best I've ever seen him do that. In fact, it's the best I've ever seen either of them do there, and I thought, do you know what? Wow, fair play. And I went on stage, and it was a little bit of a weird feeling when I got on stage, to be honest with you. They weren't completely fire, like everything that they did for the last two people, and I thought, oh, I wonder what's going on here. They got to that point eventually, but for that first 15 seconds, then I thought, oh, I might be doing something wrong here. But yeah, they settled in after about 90 seconds and boom, we were off to the races. They locked onto the frequency and vice versa. And we really, really got going. And yeah, happy times, good times. Whatever the saying is, I've got a bit of an headache from the sun, I can't lie to you. The weekend that's just gone, I did 2 gigs in Manchester City Centre. Kicked it off, Manchester Comedy Club, only done it once before, went there. Opening was Maxine Wade. Funnily enough, she was supposed to be opening last night, but something happened, she couldn't make it for whatever reason, so Maxine Wade opened. Not seen Maxine in a while. Really like Maxine, liked chatting with her. And we were kind of chatting about where she is at the moment with stand-up, how she's feeling, and all these kind of things. It was a very short catch-up, because it was in the little segments of like a minute here and 2 minutes there and all this kind of thing within a space of about half an hour, but it was good to see her, good to catch up there. And that's a very interesting gig because it's right on the corner of the gay village. It doesn't have a massive gay following, at least it didn't have that night. And a bit of I was thinking, like, how do these people hear about this gig? Because, like, I'm assuming the people who were there weren't regulars to that place. In fact, there was a couple visiting from London who'd come to this gig, and I thought, I wonder why they've decided when on a trip up from London, like, hey, let's go on to Manchester Comedy Club. So either way, they came. It was fun gig. And then I went to Creatures Comedy Club, and oh my days, this is 2 in a row now that I've been to Creatures, and the crowd have been absolutely on fire, like to the point where I'm trying to get hold of the footage from either of the 2 last gigs that I've done at Creatures, and I'm going to start to use that as my show reel to send to people to be like, can I gig at your place? This is what I can do. Have a little look at this. This is me in form. This is a good audience, and this is what happens when everything comes together. You can see the height of me. Like, that's me at like 90% there. That's like almost maximum. So yeah, a really, really, really fun gig. It's been an exciting week. Bolton got promoted back to the Championship. We all know I'm a Bolton boy. Not a Bolton Wanderers fan, but I do like to see Bolton do well. This is a weird thing, actually. So, I think there's a difference between being a fan, a supporter, and a follower. I would say I support Bolton because I really want them to do well, and I will financially support them. I'll buy a shirt if it looks good. I will go to games. I will, putting money in their pockets, actively want them to do well, say good things about them publicly. I will do that kind of supporting with them, but I wouldn't say I'm a fan of theirs, but I'm a supporter because I'm local, if that makes sense. I know the two words are interchangeable, but there are slight elements in the edges that are different. But yeah, they won at Wembley. It was a big game, and if you don't watch football, you don't need to really know much. But they smashed them 4-1. Big, exciting, beating Stockport County. They're back in the Championship. Now that they're back in the Championship, it's going to draw more money to the club, which puts more money in the local economy, which gives them more jobs there. It's all a good thing. Like, just the better things go in your town, and the football club is one of the biggest businesses in your town, the better it is for everyone. And I really want Bolton to thrive as a town, and I want Bolton Wanderers to be all the way back to the Premier League. So hopefully they can go back to back and get promoted next year. I don't know if they will or not, but that'd be exciting for me if they do. Like I say, I'd love to see Bolton doing well. Arsenal, not just won the Premier League, they're in the Champions League final this week. And to explain this to people who don't watch football, because I don't want to do like an overly heavy football talk and da-da-da-da-da and all this stuff, but to explain to people who don't like football, it'd be like the lad who was popular in school, who went to prison when you were 18, and everyone thought, what a waste. Everyone liked him. We all thought he was going to be very successful, and now he's just thrown it all away. Like, that's Arsenal. That's how Arsenal in 2004 were amazing. After that, they tail off to the point where they became a joke in English football. They'd be a bit of a punchline, to be honest with you. They start battling for stuff they shouldn't have been battling for because it's like lower down and like stuff that like the average Premier League teams are battling for. But now they're doing really well again. Now it'd be like finding out that lad who had all that potential, really popular in school. Everyone thought he was going to do great things. He's been to prison for the last 20 years. He's out of prison. Not just that, he's found a lovely wife, and now she's pregnant, and they're going to be having a baby. That's Arsenal right now. Won the Premier League, in the Champions League final. I used to be an Arsenal fan. Now with Arsenal, I would say now I'm a follower of Arsenal because I watch the game still, but I don't hold that emotional attachment that I used to do. When it would literally ruin my weekend if they'd lose on a Saturday, I would be upset. And it would really, really upset me. Like, I mean, when Ashley Cole left Arsenal and went to Chelsea, it upset me. When Emmanuel Adebayor left Arsenal, went to Man City, scored against Arsenal, and then went for the pitch to celebrate in front of the fans, I wasn't even there. It upset me. It doesn't do that to me anymore, and I'm glad I can put that stuff aside, but I can still follow them, I can still watch them, I can enjoy watching them as a team without that emotional investment. Now, without that emotional investment, you don't get the highs of, like, I didn't feel the elation that everyone else felt when Arsenal won the league. I didn't feel so happy like everyone else did. But I watched it and I thought, oh, well done, and I turned it off. Simple as that. Moving forward, we've got the Champions League final. The Champions League final might just heal a little bit of that football fan trauma in me, because I remember when Arsenal lost in 2006, that upset me. That upset me. 2006, I remember watching it in the box room at my parents' house. The little black and white TV I had in my bedroom. I had a black and white TV in 2006. I had in my bedroom. Watched that game and they lost against Barcelona, and I was like, that was the chance. You don't realise at the time that another chance ain't going to come, and it's going to now come in like 20 odd years later, and now I'm not a fan anymore. I'm not a supporter anymore. Now I'm just a follower. I will watch the game, but I won't get that feeling of satisfaction when they win. One element of satisfaction I do get when they win, though, I'll be honest with you, this is because I used to be an Arsenal fan, people talk to me like I'm still an Arsenal fan, and they'll be like, oh, you boys were rubbish on the weekend, and I would have watched the game, but I can talk about it from like a neutral standpoint. I'd be like, I don't think they did that bad, actually. They played okay. They ended up drawing, but I don't think they were terrible. All that they scraped to win, but they dominated possession. It was a bit of a scrappy goal, and the other team did get one opportunity, but for the most part, they dominated the game. They were the way better team. And I can say that now. And I can have those comments, but because people are like, no, in their heads, I'm still an Arsenal fan. In their heads, I can go and not budge from that position. But it's like, no, they did well. Like, I can say when they did well. I can also say when, oh my goodness me, there are times where they're doing rubbish. And some of those times I was enjoying when they were doing rubbish, because the reason why I fell out of love with Arsenal, I won't get into it in this video because it's a heavier subject, but I was happy when they weren't doing well because of the reason why I fell out with them. So now that reason why I fell out with them isn't there at the club anymore. So I don't have that against them, but little bits and Either way, I'm looking forward to watching the Champions League final. I was supposed to watch it with my childhood best friends. We've watched the last two together, and then today, one by one, they all dropped out. And I was like, oh, I was looking forward to just spending time with them, like, because I love spending time with mates. I love it. Like, we don't get to spend much time together. We're all adults. They've all got different things going on. And I thought maybe we can make this the thing. Maybe we can make this the one day a year that we go, do you know what? Let's try and meet up this one day a year. Champions League final every year. We'll meet up. We'll spend the day together. But I get it. Listen, they've all got families. They've all got stuff going on. I don't hold it against them. But it's disappointing. Like, that's the thing that, like, this is more disappointing to me than if Arsenal lose. That tells you how much I'm completely disconnected from, like, caring about the Arsenal win. I'm more disappointed that I'm not spending the day with my friends, because that is exciting for me and something that I do want to do. But we're going to go to watch the Scary Movie 6 when it comes out the cinema. I'll definitely enjoy that. Definitely enjoy seeing them then. And that's what we'll do. We'll just replace it with that. It is what it is, you know. And I get to see my friends next month, and that's when it comes out. So great, happy times. I got a new episode released this week from Ham and Fam. This time it's Guess the White Person. So there's, I think, 5 brown people, 2 white people. And it's our job to guess which one's which. I'll be honest, I didn't think this one I was on my best form. But at the same time, when I watched back the full video, I thought, well, actually, I've had about 7 little funny bits here. So I'm not doing too badly, you know. Because you look at it and go, that time when you're on the screen is split between all the judges, which is 5 people, and all the contestants, which is 7. And the majority of the time is going to be the main host, Ham. Obviously, it's his channel. He's the one leading the thing. He's the captain. He's the quarterback. So the rest of us have just got to kind of make the most of our minutes. So I feel like, you know, about 7 funny things I got in there. Good. I'll put a little compilation video together at some point, chuck it online. But yeah, so that's out. I have no more, just for full disclosure, I've got no more upcoming where I'm booked in for one, so I don't know if I'm going to be on ever again. I don't know if I'm going to be on in a month's time. There's one more that I filmed and it's in the books, but between you and me, I don't think I was my best on that one either, so I guess we'll see if it ever sees the light of day. I imagine it'll come out eventually, but doors always open anytime they're in Manchester. If I'm free, I'll go and team up with them, because I love it. And I like seeing the comments as well. When you see nice comments from people going, oh, I love seeing Adam on this, love seeing Adam. And I'm reading the username and I'm trying to figure out, do I know this person? And about 2 or 3 times I've looked at the username and I'm like, oh, I know who this person is. But most of the time I see it and I'm like, oh, I don't know who this is. That's really good that someone who, like, maybe don't know who I am, or maybe they've seen my stuff on social media. They might even follow me. They might follow me. I don't know. But they comment on YouTube and I'm like, that's class that, like, this person is enjoying seeing me to the point where they're going to write it in the comments. So, because very rarely I would ever comment, because I watch loads of podcasts and stuff. I don't think I ever comment going, oh my God, great, Jackson Jimerson was a great guest or anything. You know what I mean? I just watch it and then get on with the rest of my day. So yeah, love that stuff. But yeah, exciting that it's coming out, and again, looking forward to the feedback. The last one that they did, that got massive numbers. Like, I think it got over 250,000. It's been on only 6 days, so that's their biggest one so far. Hopefully, off the back of that, Tom Zanetti's in this one. Things will go good. It's interesting, like, doing these things with people who are more in the public eye, because they've got, like, public perception, and it's interesting how people talk about him. So, like, whenever I mention Tom Zanetti, people are like, oh yeah, he's got some alright tunes. And I thought, I don't know how I would feel if people knew who I was, and the only thing people would say about me is like, oh, he's an alright comedian. I'd be like, alright? Is there no one that's willing to just go, oh, do you know what? He's got some banging jokes in. He's got some banging tunes in. No one, oh, actually one person did say, oh no, he's got some big tunes. Out of all the people, everyone likes to play it cool and he's like, oh yeah, he's alright, he's alright. I'm like, come on man, give him his flowers while he's in front of you, like, write some nice things about him, whatever. Because he must have fans that really, really enjoy, because you don't get to, like, what, I think he's got like hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook, hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. You don't get those people clicking that button unless they like you, right, to some extent. So out of all those people, someone must really like you, right? So I find that an interesting thing. I'm trying to post more on social media. I'm trying to post more on TikTok because then I feel like the scattergun approach to content is probably the way to go going forward, and to just put as much out there as possible. But I'm really struggling with finding my framework and formula for the kind of stuff that I put on. So some of the lads, for example, that I see on this, so like Harry, I think that's his name. One of his things is, I'm Granny Mary, lover. How are you doing? You all right? And it's funny because the basic thing is funny. It's a young lad dressed as an old woman. Just that, the difference between a young boy and an old woman is massive, right? In terms of how they would speak, the kind of things they'd talk about. And then he can say something that he would think in her voice. And it's funny because you're putting it in the mouth. Putting it in the mouth of an old woman. Don't be putting it in the mouth of an old woman. Unless she wants it to. You know, that's between you two. But he does a lot of that stuff now. Maybe I want to do a character. But I did a character in the pandemic. I did Rocky Hussein. I did Chris Talbot. I did 2 characters. And the videos never really took off. So I need to figure out the formula of how I do them. And ways that I make it. I just don't know. I don't know how I'm going to make it work, to be completely honest with you. But you might see me trialing some character stuff on social media going forward. So if you see it, drop me a like and all that stuff, because it does help. Because I want to build myself on these platforms so that it helps me in stand-up comedy. Because I was having this conversation with Phil Milton last night that nobody owes me anything. Like when I do a gig or when I apply for a gig, whatever the case may be, we'll call it applying for a gig. Nobody owes me that gig. I have to convince them that I'm the best person out of all the people that applied for that gig. And it's like a job. Every gig is a job interview. Only you're not there in person. You send over whatever the documents are. That's why I want that footage from Creatures, so I can send it to people and hopefully get more work out of it, so they can see me doing well and go, do you know what, that was really, really good. That let's have a little look at him and try push put him on this thing. And if he does well, maybe we'll push him forward. But you've got to give people as many reasons as possible to do that, because you're fighting with everyone else. It's a very competitive industry. For example, it's a Thursday night. I'm home now. I don't have a gig now until Thursday next week. It's in Cleckheaton for Howard Walker, right? And I'm excited for that gig, and I don't think I've done that gig before, and I like Howard, so it'd be nice to go and do that and perform there, right? However, every night until then is me off and not doing comedy. Now, tonight and Friday, I blocked out my diary because of Eid. Now, I didn't get offered a gig, like one person offered me a gig actually for tonight, and I didn't end up taking it. I didn't apply for any gigs for Friday, and with Saturday, the Champions League final, me supposed to be meeting up with my mates and watching the game, I blocked that out of my diary last year because this was the plan to meet up with them, right? Doesn't matter, because I'll still be on watching it, and still rather be on watching it than being out doing stand-up, because, you know, as much as I love doing stand-up, you do have to block out the things that you really want to do. And the things that I really want to do is spend time with my friends, right? So what good is having friends, or what good is being a full-time professional comedian if you have no time for your friends? The reason why you want to be a full-time professional comedian is something that you enjoy, and it gives you the freedom to do stuff that working a 9-to-5 doesn't give you. It gives you the chance to be like, you know what? I'm going to take this gig, I'm going to do this gig, travel for this gig, travel for that gig. You know, that kind of thing. Those are the things that ideally you want to get to, right? But yeah, I say all that to say this is all these nights. So these nights are, by example, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, I've got no gigs. Like, I've got nothing coming up. Maybe Cleckheaton's Wednesday, maybe, but I can't remember off the top of my head. There's so many gigs on those nights that other people are doing. I might have applied for some of the ones next week and forgotten about them. I don't know, but I've not got them clearly. So someone else is getting those. So I need to do more to convince people to give me the gig. And if you have more followers, then they do take note of that. And obviously having about 90,000 between all the platforms is great, but imagine if I've got 500,000, I can go, I've got 500,000 followers. I go, bloody hell, you know, I might sell some tickets here. That's more of a reason to do it. Or they might go, 500,000, there must be something about this lad because people seem to be enjoying him at a bigger scale. Let's give him a go. So I'm trying to do as much as possible to give them those reasons to book me. Now, when I'm on stage, I pride myself on being, and when I'm at a venue, I pride myself on being very professional. So what I mean by that is, I don't drink anyway because I'm a Muslim, so maybe some Muslims drink, but I don't drink. Even if I did drink, I wouldn't be doing it at gigs. I mentioned in the last video how I don't really speak to females, right? If I was a single young man and looking to date women, which I was a single young man at one point, I can only imagine how I would have been in stand-up if I was 19 years old. However, I'm not 19 years old. I don't chat up girls at gigs. I don't chat up the other acts. I don't chat up the women who work at the gigs. I don't chat up the audience members. I don't even open up conversation for that. I speak to my friends, the females that I know are my friends, like so I mentioned Maxine before. She's my friend. I've known her for a while. I get in there. Hiya, Maxine, how you doing? You all right? She comes over, she gives me a hug. I start asking her, how you doing? I've not seen you for a while. How are you getting on? You've been doing much? These are the kind of things that comedians say in the green room, right? But that's another element of professionalism, is like trying to talk to the people there, especially the ones that I know, making conversations, see how they're getting on, talking about things that we've noticed. So like maybe we were talking about the people putting flags up and stuff like that in the green room. That was the kind of thing that came up in conversation, because there's something, because one of them, I won't say his name because I don't know if he would want me to say this public, so I won't say his name, but one of the acts who was on the lineup was just saying that he did a gig and there was a massive, like, just all the way behind him, massive England flag behind him, and the kind of people in the venue wanted more like racism and that kind of thing, and that's just not what he does, and that's not who he is. So that's how we got onto that kind of conversation. But like, always leave it on. I always like very professional with people. So if I feel like someone is belittling me or anything like that, I won't take umbrage with it. I just kind of go, do you know what, this is a work environment. Obviously, if things cross the line, they cross the line, but nothing ever has so far, and touch wood, they never will in the comedy environment. But I always keep myself on that professional level, shake hands with people. Or in fact, what I do is, I kind of wait for the other person to signal what they want to do. So, for example, Maxine came over and she put her arm like this, so obviously she's going in for the hug. I'll give her a hug in return. Someone comes over with a handshake, I'll give them a handshake. Someone comes in with a fist bump, I'll give them the fist bump. Whatever it is that they come in with, I'll match that, and I'll go, this is the thing that you're doing, I'll do it, because that's the professionalism that I'll give you. At the same time, I won't be unprofessional, just start walking in gigs and just go up to like people and just start hugging them. There's definitely blokes out there on the stand-up circuit who walk into a green room with a woman like, oh, how are you doing, Janice? Go up and give them a big hug because they just like grabbing women and that kind of. There's definitely going to be men out there like that. Yeah, horrible. Either way, what am I getting at? Professionalism. I try to be very professional. When I'm on stage, I try to be very professional, and I try to read the room and give what the room is looking for. So, for example, I did a gig that was a few weeks ago where there were small children in the audience. Even though the parents said it was all right, even though the people who ran the pub said it was all right, I was like, I am not swearing in front of a child. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to remain professional, and I'm not going to say, do you know what, just so I feel better and I get a few extra laughs, I'm going to swear in front of these kids. No, I'm not going to jeopardise my morals for the sake of this. I'm going to remain in this zone where a proper stand-up comedian shouldn't be swearing in front of children just for the sake of it, because they want to make themselves feel better and get more laughs. Just like I did the Muslim gig, and I was like, you know what, I shouldn't say rude stuff right now because that is what this audience want. I do not want complaints from people. People going, oh, da 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 da. So try to be as professional as I possibly can. And don't get me wrong, there's a difference between being professional and being a great networker. I'm an awful networker. No one can ever say, do you know what, I've got a problem with him. He's very unprofessional what he did just there. No one will ever be able to say that with any kind of real meaning. For me, being stand, they might be able to say, do you know what, he was a bit like off. He didn't really speak much, did he? And people might say that because I try to be professional. I try and keep myself out of the conversation and then just find my bits in when they give me an opening. But if not, just let things go as they go. And so like I said, try and give people as many reasons as possible. Then when I'm on stage, try and make them laugh as much as possible. It sounds simple. It sounds easy, but I never put a gig into the ground. If a gig's not going well, I never go, do you know what? These people, no, and you, in a nasty way. I won't never do that. At least touch wood. Hope I'd never do that. I always just try to play the room as best as I possibly can. So people go, oh, Adam did really well there. We need to have him back, and you should have had him on your lineup, and those kind of things. And these are things that I've always thought in stand-up. And I've never really seen it as a social thing, and I don't really socially hang out with that many comedians, to be honest with you. Saying that, it's Jack Kelly's stag do this weekend, which I was going to go to when it was on another day. He moved it to the Champions League final. I couldn't go because I was spending time with my mates. Now I'm not spending time with my mates, but I am watching the Champions League final. He's going to be watching the... I'm going to say it because it's going to be a big stadium. He's going to watch the lottery winners. Yeah, he'll be at that gig, and I feel like that's... I believe that that's still the plan. Don't know for sure, so don't shoot the messenger. Yeah. So yeah, try not to cross those lines. And either way, my main thing that I can't, is on my mind, I'm thinking about is give people as many reasons as possible to want to work with you. Now, again, on the surface of it, I am a promoter's dream in stand-up comedy because people like to have very diverse lineups, and not because of like some kind of woke agenda or anything like that. Some people are like that, but everyone wants a diverse lineup in terms of different stuff. Now, different stuff could just mean something like a one-liner, a storyteller, a musical comedian, a prop comic. That is a diverse lineup because it's 4 different kinds of acts. Now, another diverse lineup might be a female act, a gay act, a black guy, a disabled person. That's also a diverse lineup. Now, you know, you can chop and change them any way that you can. You might have age-wise as well, young, old, middle of the road, etc., etc. A child and a retired person. You can mix it up whichever way you want because it's more interesting for the audience. It's very boring for the audience when you just get 4 people, one after the other, and they're like doing the same stuff. Because the audience are like, does no one have an original thought here? Why are they all talking about the same stuff? So for me, I am ideal for a booker because one, I'm working class. So there are obviously a lot of working class stand-up comedians, but because it's the arts, there's so many middle class and upper class stand-up comedians because they're the people who can afford to do this. I think I mentioned in a previous video how many like I've spent thousands doing unpaid trials. Because I'm lucky enough that at the moment, I don't have kids. You know, touch wood, one day I will do, and I won't be able to afford it at that time. But at the moment, I can afford it. So I'm doing it at the moment so that when I do have kids, inshallah, in the future, I'm in those higher paid spots and I can afford to look after them better. I've lost my train of thought. I know I'm talking about diversity of lineups. So yeah, I'm a working class voice. On top of that, I'm a northern voice. The comedy industry in the UK is kind of dominated by the South. Not that the South are the best comedians, because if you look at all the big-time British comedians in the last 15, 20 years, you've probably got Peter Kay, northern, Kevin Bridges, Scottish, Paul Smith at the moment, northern, Manford, northern, you've got Bishop, northern. Then you do have your southerners as well, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the big ones are northern. A lot of the big ones are Scottish as well. So Frankie Boyle, for example. But in terms of how easy it is to get ahead in the comedy industry, like a lot of the agencies, they're based down south. A lot of, there's more clubs in London than any other city because it's the biggest city, so they are going to get more stuff. But because of that, it's harder to break through as a northern act. But I can add something a little bit different to the lineup. That's a bit of diversity that I can bring working class. Northern, these 2 different things. On top of that, I'm a Muslim. On top of that, I'm Pakistani. On top of that, I'm Polish. So there's all these different things that I bring to the table that are different to other people that no one else can really offer. However, that isn't enough. That and being good isn't enough. That and being good and having 90,000 social media followers isn't enough. Like, you need to give them as many reasons as possible so that you're getting as many gigs as possible. Because look at all this time that I've got off now, and you'll see me week to week. Sometimes I got 4 gigs, sometimes I got 1, like in this next week. So, you know, it chops and changes, but for someone who you'd think might be an ideal wet dream kind of candidate, they're not banging my door down. Like, and it's my job to convince them, you should have me. This is why you should have me. This is what I bring to the table. And this is what I kind of do need to work on, is work on getting better at that stuff, getting better at as well the networking side of things, because that's important in any industry. If people like being around you, they're going to book you more, aren't they? Like, so for example, I travel to gigs with the same people in cars because I like those people, I've got to know those people, and I trust them, and it's someone who I like being around. So if I get an opportunity being in comedy like a little bit longer than them, so if someone offers me a gig and I get offered a driver's spot, I can then offer it to someone who's been doing stand-up 4 years, 2 years, 1 year, and offer it to someone that I like because it's people that I've been around. There might be better drivers out there, there might be better comedians out there, because I don't know them, they don't get on the radar, they don't even get asked. I just ask one of the people that I know and that I like, and this is how any industry works, and it's the same for other people as well. Some people book me because they know me and they like me, but some people don't know me, some people don't like me because they, I need to get through to these people, so by hook or by crook, I need to figure this stuff out. And this is the thing that's like really always running through my mind, because I'm always looking at like where I am right now in stand-up, and how do I push myself forward? How do I get myself in a better position? And it's a bit of mental torture, to be honest with you. And I think like this is why a lot of people quit stand-up, because especially as a working class comedian, when you've only got a limited amount of finances, like I said before, spending thousands of pounds on unpaid gigs, it's untenable when you're working class. You can't just afford to keep doing it. I'm blessed in certain ways that like there's certain things that I don't need to worry about finance, like I said before about kids and stuff like that. Again, I want them in the future, but I want to put myself in that position where I can look after them properly, and that's why I'm doing all this hard work now. So I'm building hopefully a better life in the future, and this is why it's part of that mental torture, because I'm like, I don't mind spending this money, but I don't want to be in a position where I look back and I go, what a fool's errand that was, Adam. You spent all that money, and what have you got to show for it? I mean, we'll see as we go along, but I want to, there's something that I want to be good at. I want to always get better at, and I feel good right now. I'll be honest, I feel good when I'm on stage. I feel like I'm going to deliver tonight. I'm going to do well. I feel like even when I have an off day, I'll do well for you. Like, I've got to the level now where I can have an off day and I can still deliver a 7 out of 10. I can get passed by and people go, oh, that was good, that. And I'll feel afterwards, be like, I weren't at my best then. Like when I was on stage last night, first two acts were flying. I didn't feel at my best at the start. I had a bit of a tricky start. By the end of it, people are coming up to me, shaking my hand. The owner of the players shaking my hand. Oh, that was brilliant. Da, 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 da. Yeah, great. It makes me feel amazing. But at the same time, I know that I need to keep getting better, because if that's where my autopilot lands me on now, imagine if I get better and better and better. My autopilot lands me on 8, my autopilot lands me on 9, and I can do all these kind of things to a better standard and a better level, and have people kind of like trusting me as a safe hand, because I'm trusted as a safe hand at a certain level of gig. Middle spots for loads of bookers. Manfords, for example, they'll say like I'm a safe hand, put me in the middle, not a problem, they don't worry about me, they're not worried about the feedback and anything like that, I imagine. Closing gigs like for Daniel Innes, hosting bucket split nights, running gigs at venues, people see me as a safe hand, but you want to climb the ladder, don't you? You want to get into better and better opportunities. I don't know, I'm going round and round in circles, I don't even know. Yeah, comedy's exciting though, that's the main, and it's hard sometimes because you forget how fun it is, and that's part of where I want to keep improving as well, is keep improving the amount of fun that I am having, and keep increasing, should I say, the amount of fun that I'm having. And you need to challenge yourself to keep having fun, because whenever you get a next step up and you get offered a certain thing and it's bigger than anything that you've done before, even if you do average on autopilot and again you land on that 7 instead of giving it your 10 out of 10 performance, it's really fun, and you're like, wow, that was class tonight. I got an opportunity in front of this amount of people. Brilliant. I really want to tour support for people. I really want to tour support for people. I really want to get co-signed, and I think I need an agent. I do think I need an agent. I don't know which agent. I don't know. I need to drive. That's something that I need to do. I need to pass me driving test. Or take me driving test to begin with. Never mind pass it. I need to take me driving test. Take more lessons. I've not done them for a long time. I need to really, really pull my finger out when it comes to that stuff. These are the things that I think, and I think once I can do that, it'll unlock more gigs, and hopefully unlocking more gigs will increase more opportunity, and then these kind of things. And yeah, maybe running more gigs will help me as well. But the one thing that's immediately in my control, social media. So I've put maybe 4 videos on TikTok today, and that's my idea of hopefully I can just keep popping something on TikTok, keep putting ideas on there, keep making stuff. And if I can get into the zone of a character like Rocky, you were saying, bash out a load of videos one Saturday, for example, just meet up with a few mates, bash out a load of videos, and then like, right, boom, slowly but surely start to drip feed these onto the platform, feed the algorithm, get more eyes on me, get more people wanting to come and see me, be able to sell my own tickets to my own gigs. Yeah, these are the dreams. These are where we want to be in life, where we want to be in stand-up comedy. And it's interesting because I don't know what the perception of me is from other people, to be honest with you. I don't know what my followers on social media think. I don't know what people I went to school with think. I don't know what work colleagues think. I don't know what anybody thinks of me. And it surprises me sometimes because people will say something and I'll be like, you do realise, like, my goal is to become a full-time stand-up comedian and, like, do tours and play massive venues and be able to sell tickets off the back of my own name. That's why I'm doing stuff. Like, that's why I put videos on social. Because people be like, yeah, why don't you just do this on social media? I'm like, yeah, because I'm not really focused that much on social media. My aim is, like, to increase my following, to do this stuff, not to make money off social. But then again, maybe that's the thing that I should look at in terms of, like, my future, for my future children and stuff like that, is being able to financially support myself just off social media. Then off the back of that, stand-up be a bonus, increase my level in stand-up and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's a complicated business, but it's a very exciting business at the same time. I want to make TV shows. I'd love to write something on Netflix. I've been putting these treatments together and stuff like that. I'm in this excited mode again at the moment. I'm really looking forward to see my mate Damien. I've not seen him for ages. He's away. He's very busy with work, which I'm really happy about. Because the last couple of times we chatted before he was away, we were talking about where he is with his industry at the moment and where we are. So I'm really happy how busy it is at the moment for him. But can you imagine, like, I can write a TV show and a comedy, and like Gervais, for example, he wrote his TV show, vastly successful, made him a star, made the show massive. Then he did extras as well, increased his fame even more. He did stand-up tours and all this kind of stuff, and that's all off the back of him making that show. So if you can make something that, in theory, it can still happen. And that used to be the goal for people. The goal used to be, I'd love to make myself a TV show, write something, get something greenlit or whatever. And then that slowly over the last few years has kind of turned into, I want to make a podcast, I want to get big off a podcast, and now I want to get big off sketches and clips and stuff like that. And there's so many different avenues and there's so many different things to focus on that I want to build on all of this stuff, so that when I do, inshallah, be in front of an agent and we're having a discussion and they go, right, tell me about you, why should I sign you, give me some information. I go, right, okay, we can talk about my ability as a stand-up, we can talk about what I've got in the pipeline in terms of what I'm writing and stuff like that. We can talk about the solo show that I'm working on so that I can go around and tour that. We can talk about the stuff I'm writing behind the scenes. What element is it? You can talk about my future goals beyond all that. Where do I want to go? What's the ultimate goal? What element of it do you want to talk about? What's important to you? Let's talk about that one thing, and I can talk about that one thing, and then talk about the rest as well. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm rambling. I guess that's what a podcast is, especially when it's solo. Should I get a guest, guys? I feel like I should get a guest. I feel like I should just rock up somewhere and maybe before or after a gig one time, I'm just going to pull someone to a side and be like, fancy recording a podcast, mate? Let's get in here together and record a podcast and just have a chat and just free ball and just go wild on whatever you want to talk about. And then I feel like that might be interesting as well. I should try and maybe guest on other people's podcasts. That's something that would probably help me to increase my visibility and it let people know about me more and more. Maybe I should start to reach out to some people and get something like that in the pipeline, because there's some podcasts that are big that I'd love to kind of guest on, and yeah, should maybe dip my toes into those waters and creep slowly towards it. You know what, guys? Because it's so sunny, I'm going to bounce there because you guys don't want to be stuck indoors. I don't want to be stuck when it's so warm and there's loads of things to do. So I'm going to go. Enjoy the rest of my day. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. If you've not already, we're at the end of this video. Go watch the Ham and Fam stuff. It should be on my channel in terms of collaboration videos or whatever. I don't understand how it all works. I'm just happy to be involved and happy to get a chance to make people laugh and enjoy themselves. And hopefully, long may it continue.